Hi, Dr. Cheryl Meyer here again. I don't even know what ghosting video this is, 4 or 5. I didn't check before I did this, but this is like dropping into the Matrix one. I can feel it. It's like you have properly been initiated if you have made it to this video. So it's going to be another contemplative song. So contemplation just means quieting your mind and getting to a higher place. But the song that came to me today, and I don't pick this. When I got home after dinner, I put my roller skates on, and I have this whole track set up downstairs. It's hilarious. And it's like you go into this meditative mode. It's like if you were spinning yarn or something, or spinning on a spinning wheel in like Sleeping Beauty or something. It gets you, the song just kind of sinks into your body. I like doing activities, exercise, so that the song sort of just gets into you. Anyway, so the song was speaking to me. My brother and I have had conversations about it before. It's a Bob Marley song. I don't know if you've heard it. Hopefully you have. I Shot the Sheriff. But it's talking about higher understanding. Gosh, it was so painful today. Like, I went and met with a wise man. I won't say what denomination of anything or what religion, because I don't want to alienate people. I want whoever you are, whatever faith practice or non-faith practice or spiritual practice that you have, I want you to feel welcomed here and not alienated. But I went to this man that like, he met with me once a month for 3 years, for free, and he loves me, and he's very dear to my heart. And I went to him today because I was so troubled and distraught, and I mean, he just looked at me and he's like, "I love you, Cheryl. I love you." And I was like, "Ah!" So I went, and it was a specific meeting. But anyway, I proceeded to just pour out to him everything that was going on, and then I think I cried like a gallon worth of tears. So but I have a spiritual director that I meet with for the past 3 years, and she told me, what did she tell me those tears are called? She says that they're a gift, the gift of grace, or the gift of tears, because they're not self-pity tears, not feeling sorry. You're just, it's like feeling true remorse, or true, gosh, it's, I don't even want to go backwards to earlier today, but it's worth talking about because it's like a sadness for anybody that I hurt on my path, and a sadness about hurting myself, and a sadness about hurting, the other people, like people involved or on the periphery. But I recognized today, and a little bit yesterday, I think it was underneath my subconscious, that so one of my dearest friends, I'd probably say the dearest friend in my life, was this guy, Elliott. He was a singer, Elliott Smith. I don't know if you've heard of him, but I met him in 1998, and it was just like, I don't know, this deep soul connection. I mean, you can hear it in his music, what a deep person he is. But it's so funny because we were hanging out in LA, and he was just like, "You're my first LA friend." And I didn't want to tell him, like, well, I drive from the suburbs. I drive from Orange County, but that's okay. So I was his first LA friend, he said. And he had a girlfriend in Portland, and I loved her. She's great, and I never wanted to get in the middle of any of that. So I didn't. And it was great because he was out here, living out here, recording and stuff. I don't know which time that was. I think XO was going on then. I don't remember. I got to go in the studio, and anyway, that's a different story. But one thing he told me, because I was like, Elliott, you're so lucky that you get to like make music and be an artist and live off of that. Because I never saw myself doing that. I mean, I'm still not doing that. I'm a psychologist. That's my day job, and I'm a mom. So, and he's like, well, being a psychologist is an art. You know, your canvas is the human psyche. And I'm like, well, okay. You know, I didn't really look at it like an art. I always had this inclination to be like an artist. I just have that poetic longing, and but I never was encouraged to do that. I always went to school, studied, you know, worked on my logical side of my brain. But now it's becoming more integrated. But anyway, I don't need to go into all of this. It's just, all I'm saying is Elliott and I had this soul connection from the beginning, but it's like we were always separated by circumstances and life, and gosh, like I can't go into all of it right now, but I know that finally there was one time I was living in Montreal, doing my internship for psychology, and Elliott came out, and he was doing shows. So he was like in Vermont. I went and saw him, and then Montreal, which is like a 2-hour drive back to where I lived, and then down to Toronto, which was like a 5-hour drive. So by Toronto, we were hanging out, and I mean, we were hanging out all 3 shows. It was so great to see him. But yeah, I don't know how much I want to talk about here. It's a little personal. But anyway, he didn't have a girlfriend at that time, and I did not know that. And I was interested in this other guy in London, but nothing was happening yet with that. Like, anyway. But the whole story, all I'm bringing this up for is we connected, but it was another, like, you know, it was right before cell phones, and I just, like, I can't believe the timing of this. But he gave me, like, you know, here's this manager's number, which I already had because we had been faxing and stuff, faxing back then. But here's you know, this number and this number and this number and blah blah blah. And I was just like, dude, like, I'm not gonna run after you and chase you all over the world while you're doing your shows and stuff. I mean, I loved Elliott. I loved him more than I can express what love is. You know, there was this deep soul connection, and but I don't know. I was in a place where I was like, I'm not gonna go run after you. If you want a relationship with me, then, you know, come and find me. And so I didn't find out until after he died that he wrote the song about that night. And anyway, it's called Hanging Around in the Lost and Found. It's called The Lost and Found. And I know, anyway, it's like, it says, don't go home, Angelina. Like, and in Los Angeles, they're called Angelinos. But a girl would be Angelina, my little angel, or, you know, someone from Los Angeles. And it says, like, I kissed her quick, you know, feeling weird, lonely, weird, and disappeared. You know, this is such a simple place that passing time can't erase. Anyway, I didn't know I didn't know he was going around singing that song, you know. It's like every morning when I wake up, I think of you. I had no idea. I just thought he forgot about me, or I was just waiting, you know, for him to like get healthy enough in his life. You know, he drank a lot. But I loved him. I saw through all of that. Like, none of that mattered at all when you're around him. Like, you just see his essence. You see his true self. And he's so profound and prolific and loving and just a sweetheart. But, you know, he had his pain. He had a lot of pain. And so, anyway, I didn't know. So, we didn't get to connect. I got married, and, to a guy that pursued me, like, okay, go figure, you know. And Elliott died. I think he was killed. It's still an open case, so I don't worry about it. Don't comment about it. I mean, if you want to, you can, because it's freedom of expression, but it's still an open case because there's a lot of different factors in it. It hurts me that people just assume that it was a suicide, and I didn't know when it happened. I had a nightmare the night before he died that my sister was going to die a violent death. I never had, you know, dreams like that, so vivid. Just freaked me out. I called my sister. I was like, don't leave the house. I don't understand, you know. I had this dream, and it was like, for sure it's going to happen, but it's because I had a soul connection to him. And anyway, I didn't find out until the next day that he died that day from 2 stab wounds to the heart. Go figure. And he also, the weirdest thing, I mean, is that he also had this other song that's connected to Don't Go Home, Angelina, the Lost and Found song. It does this music at the end, and that music goes into this other song that he never put on his CD, but I didn't find it until after he died, that one. And it's called Dancing on the Highway. And if you go to like my Twitter or whatever, I have it penned on the top. I made a video of it because it says something about this this girl who's waiting around to meet him when he dies. And that's a whole nother video. That is like 12 videos from now. I mean, I can feel it. It's a long time away if I tell that story, but I've definitely got impressions from him, from wherever he is, but people get weirded out by that, so I won't go into that right now, because anyway, all of that to say, oh my gosh, that this guy that I met on this spiritual trip to Turkey just had like the same vibe or something, or the same soul connection or something as Elliott. So it was just like, it brought up all this old stuff of all the missed opportunities that Elliott and I had, because and I feel so bad for him. Like, he couldn't get out of his pain. And maybe I was closed off or something, or I just wasn't following my artistic side, or the poet side of me, or the higher side, the higher self. So we missed that opportunity. And so even though this guy is like a friend, I just, when the ghosting happened, the cutoff it felt just like losing Elliott when he died, you know. And it's like not that guy's fault that he like reminds me of my dear soul friend, Elliott. Gosh. Okay, so I was gonna say, I love this lesson that I'm learning, because it's taken me, this pain that I felt all over again, has taken me to such a depth of my own soul self, my being self, that today I was just like, after I met with a different kind of spiritual advisor, the man that just loves me, you know, and he's wise. After I met with him, I was just like, I can't keep thinking about this. I can't be attached to it. I have to figure out the deeper way. And I know I got a lot of answers in the last 3 videos. Today I had to find a way out of the pain, because it's just overwhelmingly painful. And so it's so funny. It's so weird how the synchronicity works, because I went on Facebook and I checked my memories came up, and this amazing quote came up. I'll try to put it at the end. It's like this Bruce Lee quote, but it matched this YouTube video that I listened to when I was walking by the beach today. And the YouTube video was this guy called Mooji, Mooji, and some people won't relate to him at all. Like, that's fine if you don't. But he was just talking about your being self, your isness, the deeper, like what I call the God spark of you, like the part of you, or your soul self, this higher part of you that's connected to God, or to all that is, and how when you go there and you learn how to stay there, whatever's going on around you, it can come and go through you and go past you, and you don't have to identify with it. It's not detaching from the world. It's not. You're just in a higher state. And this is way beyond my psychology stuff, but I study spirituality and I apply that, and I've been really, really trying to understand. I have this longing, besides my longing of love for my dear friend Elliott, who, gosh, like I feel his love all the time. Like, he's so loving to me. He's gosh, I can't listen to his music very often, that's for sure, but I know he loves me and it feels good. And this together, I'm only revealing this stuff so that you can go to these places with me and in your own soul journey and understand how to get to this higher place, because pain can do that. Like, we can't keep staying in the pain, so we look for solutions. And so the solution that I found when I was listening to this video, the Mooji video of getting back to the self, and then looking around you, and you know, the thoughts that come by, or the pain or whatever, it's like passing, you know, ships on the water or something, you know, like sailboats. Or clouds in the sky, you just see them and you don't identify with them. You're not like, that's it's called the observing eye. It's like you're not staying in your ego, which your mind wants to attach to all of those and then grow those ideas, and oh, the loss, oh, the pain, oh, this, oh, you know, the love that never works out or does work out or whatever, you know. It can in moments, or I don't know. But anyway, and so I Shot the Sheriff just started coming into my brain, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember a conversation my older brother and I had about I Shot the Sheriff. So I recorded it. I recorded it in one take. I'm just like, forget it. Like, that's all I'm going to do. I'm making this whole video. Like, I can't do this every night. But I was so inspired to share this with you. Not all of that Elliott stuff. Oh my gosh. But whatever. Like, I love just being myself and celebrating that. And I hope to God, I hope that it helps you grow. And let's listen to the song. And I wrote it down here this time, because my brother's like, you keep looking up. My computer is up on a shelf, and so it's like I'm looking up in the heavens to get all the answers. But anyway, So I'll play it. Let me see if I can push pause. My computer is the slowest thing in the world. So let's see if we can hear this. Hopefully we can. And I'll talk us through it while it's playing. And then I'll play it at the end with some of the pictures from the beach. Oh, I got to watch the surfers. Like, oh, I wanted to go out there so bad. But I don't know how to surf yet. So that's another thing on my list. Anyway, I look so funny after roller skating and going to the ocean. And my hair is all like, whatever. And now I'm crying. It's okay. We're out of our ego. But okay, so what this song is going to teach us is how to develop the observing eye that's not caught up in all of the madness and the pain and the thoughts, the constant thoughts and the reminding and the whatever, that keep coming up in our daily life. It starts teaching us, and you can do this gently and slowly, how to get to this deeper part of yourself. Because it's such an amazing, amazing place. It's like living in your heart chakra. I don't know if you know what chakras are, but your heart center. Like, it's really like learning how to do that. And so you can be completely loving, but you're not attached. You're not attached to, like, I've been trying to let go of all outcomes, just surrender everything and be like, whatever happens in this life, I'm here to be loving, to be kind, to be authentic, to share whatever I've learned that I think is of value, that can help you have freedom in your life and love, more love, more love, lots more love. I want everyone to be so loved. So anyway, let's go to the song. Okay, so here it goes. Let's see. Play. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. No. Said I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. And then I go, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like, I didn't know how to sing it. I was just like, whatever. I mean, I listened to it for an hour straight on repeat while I was roller skating and meditating. But, I was like thinking of other stuff. But anyway, okay. So the deputy in you it's under the sheriff. But, so the sheriff is like the ego. That's your personality self, your outer self, that thinks it's all that and is trying to look all good, and trying to look good for others, putting on the front or whatever. You sort of need your ego, your personality self, but it's not meant to run the show. It's not the highest part of you. It's like temporary part of you, And so the deputy is like the part of you that can take a step back and observe. And so when Bob Marley says, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy, he's saying, like, I shot this ego. I shot him down. It's kind of like, let's think if we tranquilize or something. I gave him a shot. Like, I'm not trying to be just nonviolent, but like, if we think of, gosh, I'm still sad about the Elliott thing. Sorry. Okay, don't identify for a second. Get to this, my heart self, where everyone is still alive. I'm not in denial that he's physically not here. He's not, but I just, anyway, I won't go into all my beliefs because I want you to develop your own and find your own path in this. I'm just walking alongside with you to spark some different ideas, perhaps, and so we can grow our consciousness. Okay, I gotta wrap this up because I have an appointment late at night. But okay. Anyway, so I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. I quieted the ego. I stopped letting him run the show, but not the deputy. The deputy is the one that stands back, the part of us that stands back and is observing what's going on and watching it, but not identifying. That's not me. This is, my thoughts are coming in, my feelings are coming in, my memories, all my understanding, all this chaos around us. I mean, sometimes it's not chaos, it's beautiful. But it's not, there's a deeper me that's behind that, And so here's the next part. There's the ooh. All around in my hometown, they're trying to track me down. They say they wanna bring me in guilty for the killing of a deputy. This is too slow. I'll put it at the end. Because the video is getting really long. Oh, and see, it paused by itself, so it knew, I guess. Okay, so let's see. Okay, the appointments in a little bit. So I'll just go through it. I'll just go through the words, and then you can listen to the song. And when you listen, be quiet. You don't have to listen to my song. Go listen to Bob Marley's song, but you can listen to mine if it's soothing to you, or if you could hear the meaning and subconsciously in how I was singing it, how it got conveyed in that one time that I just played it and recorded it. And I had to learn how to play the guitar with it, and I couldn't find the right notes, so I had to just whatever. It worked good enough for our purposes, because we're doing this to expand our soul awareness and to grow and to love. I want to love. I don't want to hate anyone or judge anyone. When we judge other people, like my judgment and reaction to this ghoster is just my own stuff. It's my own pain that got triggered. And as soon as I judge him, I don't see his essence. I don't see him as he really is, and just be all love to that person. Like, it doesn't matter what they do to us, because my real me is not that me that got offended and triggered and all that. Like, that's part of me, like, let's say my ego me, but there's a deeper part of me and a deeper part of that person, and I can just be like, you are loved, and you are loved, and I wish you love, and I wish you healing, and I wish you like everything good, and like everything good on his path, wherever this guy is, like whatever he's doing. I just, it's like, just like I want for you. I want your life to be beautiful and amazing and connected to people and love flowing, in your life. So I have high ideals. I'm pretty idealistic. I know. Okay, so let's go back to the song. Okay, so it says, I shot the sheriff, but so they say, all around my hometown. My hometown is where I started out here. He started out in his ego, in his hometown. And they're trying to track him down, but they can't find him because he's moved on. Bob Marley has moved on to a higher consciousness level. And so beyond the ego. And so they can't find him because he's not identified with his ego, his outer personality self. They just call it the ego, but well, I'll think of other terms, but maybe not this video. But so they're trying to track him down because they're all in their ego. When you're in your ego, you're trying to look from your ego. You'll look for other ego people, and if people are in a higher state, you can't find them. They're on a higher floor than you. Anyway. So they want to bring him in guilty because everyone will accuse you. When you're in your ego state, you are in judgment. Like I was just saying, you're in judgment of people. You're in a judgy place. So there's all this guilt and shame for killing of the deputy, for the life of a deputy. But I say, I shot the sheriff, but I swear it was in self-defense. It's in defense. He was defending his higher self. He shot the sheriff, even quieting, tranquilizing, or shot, like, let him die. Let that die. Like Christ says, take up your cross, follow me daily. Like, let that part of you die over and over. Gosh, I already talked about my ego like 25 times in this video. It's just like, I wish that part of me would just die again, instead of, identify with that again, and then I'm judging this person. I don't want to judge. Like, I obviously use discernment, respect myself. Gosh, I was crying about that today. But honor myself, respect other people, be kind always, and respect other people, but not identify with the ego. I think that's where I was going. But anyway, go back to this. So Sheriff John Brown always hated me for what Okay, so sorry, we're going back to, I shot the sheriff, but it wasn't self-defense, in defense of your higher self. And so you're trying to protect your essence, this beautiful essence that you have when you're a child, from age around, you know, birth until you're about 6 or 8. You have this pure essence self, and then your personality forms around it. And there's this great book and teaching by a guy, another psychologist. He might have been a psychiatrist, but he was from England in the early 1900s. Maurice Nicole. But he says, you know, you form this outer personality self, and it's needed to navigate you through this world, because we're here on Earth in this body. And but he said it's kind of like it develops, and then it's like an egg, and you're I can't go into all of it right now, it would take way too long, but basically your outer personality gets to be eaten up if you get to a higher elevated state of consciousness, so that your essence can grow again, this beautiful child part of you. And Jesus said, like, you know, and I love all religions, I just know this, that he said, you know, to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must be like a little child. And we can talk about that more later, but that's like your essence self. That's what's closer to this core being self, is yourself. Okay, so he says, I shot the sheriff, but I swear it was in self-defense. I shot the sheriff. They say it's a capital offense. You know, your ego hates the higher soul self because it wants to reign. It wants to be in control. It wants to be in the driver's seat. It thinks it's all that, and that's all there is. It gets lost in identification, in saying it is the king, and it's not the king. It ought to be in the back seat, but it's like in the driver's seat, until we learn. And Bob Marley will tell us how he's unfolding a spiritual path on this. It's just like Elliott was in Dancing on the Highway. I hope you get to see that video. Maybe I'll link it in here. He's showing a spiritual path. He's showing a path, how to free yourself, how to navigate this life. And he's so sweet. Like, he never wanted to tell people, this is what you need to do, this is what you have to do. He just sang, and he sang it so beautifully, because like he showed two ways. Like he has the song Between the Bars, and it's like you're either between jail bars of your own prison that you create, or you're between the bars, you're bar hopping, or you're between the bars, music bars, you know. And music bars go up in scale, and so when you go up in scale, you're becoming a higher consciousness. And so, but we get in between the bars, we get back to our ego self, identified with that, back to our higher soul self, the higher knowledge, the expansive, like all this beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then we're going back and forth and hurting people. We hurt people when we're back in ego, you know. It's just life. Like, God forgive us, you know, or whatever else we do. Like, for forgiveness, please. Anyways, so Bob Marley right here, like, yes, Bob Marley. He's showing us this cool spiritual path. Let's watch how it unfolds. I hope you're still here with me. If not, then like, bye, it's fine. Like, I'm really enjoying this, and I hope to God, like, this, you get this. I hope you can understand it. And like it, comment, subscribe. Like, I have like 50 subscribers right now, because I'm just now inspired to be my real self and to try to incorporate this stuff. And so it's really exciting for me. And anyway, so okay, go back to, okay, so they say the ego hates it. They say it's a capital offense. You know, you can't shoot the sheriff. Yeah, it wants the power. Okay, and so it says, Sheriff John Brown always hated me for what? I don't know. Every time that I plant a seed, he said, kill it before it grows. Kill it before it grows. Okay, and so I wrote this down this time, so I'm not like for what? I don't know. So your higher self has a more expansive understanding, like we just said, of reality. So like I already said, when Christ says you must be like a little child to enter the kingdom of God, it doesn't understand why the ego would want to kill it. So it doesn't understand why John Brown wanted to kill the higher self, but it wants to kill the higher self because it feels threatened that one, once you figure out that is the higher part of you, and that is where you're going to find freedom and beauty and truth. And like some people call it like the Christ in you. Oh, I have my candle. I had it glowing, but it's like this heart center that you see in all these. So every time I plant a seed, he said, kill it before it grows. The seed is like the seed of true knowing that we've talked about so far. It grows incredible, like magic plants, like Jack and the Beanstalk, like this little seed that he got because he sold the cow because he thought it was magic. And his mom's like, oh, you know, the practical ego is like, why did you sell our cow? We have no food. But he got magic beans, and it took him up to the castle. And if you read the original story, it's so beautiful. Like I have the Princess and the Pea behind me. I put that screen up today because I felt that magic. But so it's like the magic in Jack and the Beanstalk brought him up. Okay, that's what I was saying. In the original story, it was his castle. It was his father's castle. And it got lost by the giant. The giant took it over. And so Jack was just going up the beanstalk to reclaim his own abundance, his riches, the riches that were already his. This just came to me right now. I put down Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's like, that's us, these seeds. He said every time, Bob Marley says, every time I plant a seed, the ego says, or, you know, the sheriff, the ego, yeah, wants to say, kill it before it grows, kill them before they grow. But they're the magic tree that we have to climb. It's a ladder. It's work. It's definitely work, but it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. And it takes you to such beautiful places. And so he got the magic harp, you know, the golden harp, and the goose that laid the golden eggs, and you get so much gold. It's true gold, like what I was talking about last time, transmuting this ghosting experience into something higher. And like, look at what's unfolding. I cannot believe it. Like, this is such a gift. This is such a gift. Like, I hope you're here with me on this. Like, I'm freaking out. Okay, back to my professional psychology self. No, this is just a mix of all of who I am. My musical stuff. I can't believe I'm singing songs and putting them on YouTube. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, so go back to that though. Okay, so he says, kill before it grows, but I shot the sheriff, but I swear it was in self-defense. Again, the higher self. He said, freedom came my way one day, and I started out of town. So freedom is that enlightenment. When you see a higher truth, it sets you free from the lower truth. And so the freedom, you get freedom from the lower truth, and you get to this higher place. It came my way one day, and so I started out of town, out of the familiar. Jesus says, like, if you, he who cannot leave his father or mother or brother or sister or whomever for my sake is not worthy of my calling, because he's calling you. If your own parents get in the way of you following your higher calling, you know, what your higher self is telling you, then it's like, that's your time to let them go and be your own man or woman. But it's difficult to go into that. Like, as a psychologist, I could go into that for like 3 hours right now. So like, I'm not saying like go against, you know, the wisdom of your parents if your parents have wise things to tell you. But if anyway, let's go back to Bob Marley, because he said freedom came my way one day, and it's like one moment in time you might see a higher truth. It's like a glimpse of it, and we get scared sometimes because our logical brain goes, no, that's what it, you know, it can't explain it. And then it's just like I call it, it's just like the kids that go to Narnia and they didn't believe Lucy. Lucy, who had the sensitive soul, goes in there first. She's receptive to the spirit, and she goes in, and she, you know, later she meets Aslan, but first she meets Mr. Tumnus, you know. But anyway, when she comes back, the door's not open for them. They're not in the same state of being that she was in. And she can't explain. She's like, I know I got there, but I don't know how, you know, after their logical brains come in and knock on the wardrobe. And all of this it's the same, it's the similar. So you'll get this insight, And if you go back to your logical brain, it won't be able to explain it. It's a different part. It's not this more expansive higher self that doesn't have to identify with all the pain and stuff that's going around. So freedom came my way one day, and I started out of town, and all of a sudden I see Sheriff John Brown aiming to shoot me down. So I shot him down. Okay, and so we'll keep going. It's back to the chorus again. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. The deputy is the observing part of you that's watching, that helps you get back to your higher self. And so and then he goes, reflexes got the better of me. His reflexes, when you're in the now moment, when you're in this place, you're often in the now. They call it in the now. And so he acted on his reflexes. Anyway, we could go into that for a long time too, but I'll just go through this. Reflexes got the better of me, and what is to be must be. Oh, love that part. I hope it showed up in this song when you hear it. But what is to be is your eternal self is to be. Like this ego self, just like your personality. We die. We are born and then we die. And then there's all sorts of other beliefs about what happens and stuff. So I won't go into all of that right now. But your higher self is your soul self that's eternal. But still, I don't want to define your faith. So, but anyway, so what is to be must be. Like your ego is gonna die anyway. And what is Jesus saying about taking up your cross every day and letting that part die and letting that part die? And when you're baptized, it's meant to go in the water and not come out. Your soul self is meant to live after baptism by some spiritual, awakening. I don't know what to call it. Anyway, it's a long conversation. So, but every day the bucket goes to the well, he says, but one day the bottom will drop out. One day the bottom will drop out. And it's like the seeds. It's like if the seeds keep growing, if you keep give us this day our daily bread. Give us this day the love that we need for today. My brother calls it the super substantial, that which is beyond normal bread. That we give us the spiritual food we need to be spiritual, to grow our essence back again, to grow that child part, that alive part, that the loving part, the beautiful part. It's all beautiful, but but he says every day when we're living like this in our ego, we go back to the well and we try to get more spiritual water to give us that spring of living water in us. One day the bottom's going to drop out. Like the ego can't keep living as the ruler in your house. Or one day you'll just have enlightenment and you'll understand from living in this heart center so long that you'll just crave it so much more than the ego life, Gosh, I live in Southern California. There's a lot of very good looking people. I'm like, oh, maybe if I was in my ego self, I would look like that. Like, I don't know. But not all of them are like that. I know really, really deep spiritual people that they're just more balanced, and so they shine and they look beautiful out of that. And there's nothing wrong with beautiful people. See, I don't want to be in judgment or ego. Okay. And then he just says, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Oh no. And anyway, that's it for now. I don't even know how I'm going to upload this long video because my phone won't do it. So I'll get the song so you can listen to it at the end. Sorry this was so long. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you. I give you my love. All that crying made my heart chakra open up again. So I needed to get past it so I can be loving again, because it's so much more fun to be in a loving place. Thank you for listening to my story about Elliott. Share this with your friends if you think that they can grow. And now you get to listen to Bob Marley's song and understand. Just let it sink in. Even if your logical brain is trying to just let it sink in. That's why I pick these songs. They're unfolding this amazing spiritual path. All right, I wish you the best. Lots of love. Oh, and I'm sorry I didn't come back. The last video I said I'll come back, and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't get to come back. But I'm like, oh, well, I'll just say the next video is here I am. I'm back. So anyway, lots of love. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. No. I said, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All around in my hometown, they're trying to track me down. They say they wanna bring me in guilty for the killing of a deputy, for the life of a deputy. Oh, no, no. I shot the sheriff, but I swear it wasn't self-defense. Ooh, ooh, yeah. I said I shot the sheriff, oh Lord, and they say it is a capital offense. Ooh, ooh, yeah. Sheriff John Brown always hated me for what? I don't know. Every time I plant a seed, he said kill it before it grows. He said kill them before they grow. And so, read it in the news. I shot the sheriff, but I swear it wasn't self-defense. I said I shot the sheriff, but I swear it wasn't self-defense. Oh, yeah. Freedom came my way one day, and I started out of town, yeah. All of a sudden, I saw Sheriff John Brown aiming to shoot me down. So I shot him down. And I say, if I am guilty, I will pay. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. Reflexes had the better of me, and what is to be must be. Every day the bucket will go a well, but one day the bottom will go a drop out. I said one day the bottom will go a drop out. I say I shot the sheriff, thought I didn't shoot the deputy. No, no, no. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. Yeah.